Hello and welcome. My name is Keith Wray. Welcome to Wray and the Bay. Listen, I have a great story to tell you today. It's if I had to put a title to the story, it would be Park Assist, Self-Parking. Yes, please. I was a 16-year-old boy in the mid-70s. And like all my peers, I could not wait to get my driver's license. I was not worried at all about the written test. I knew the driver's manual for the state test like I wrote it. I had studied for it months, 6 months. It was the driving test that I was a little nervous about. I was going to be sitting next to a state trooper, and that had me a little bit nervous. I felt like a cat in a rocking chair factory. I had not had much drive time since the VW Beetle incident. I described that in a previous story. But to recap it, I'll just say I borrowed Dad's Beetle at 15 years old, no driver's license, and I hadn't asked permission. Then, while pretending to be the greatest race car driver in the world, I spun out and I drove that thing right through a fence. Dad wasn't happy. I had attempted to parallel park in driver's education class, and that was my worst thing. Being a country kid, I just really I never did get the hang of it. So I passed the written with flying colors. So now time to drive. The trooper gets in and he tells me to take off. Everything was going great. I was remembering everything I learned. The turn signal, look both ways, hands at 10 and 2, right? Easy takeoffs, gentle stops. I was really getting some confidence and I was ready. So let's park this thing. Oh, by the way, I was in my dad's 1971 Mercury Marquis, a long, very long, 19-foot worth of car, 19 feet long. And I was expected to guide that into a 25-foot parking space. I was sure wishing we had that VW Beetle back. So to make matters worse, we pull up to those orange cones going uphill. And I will tell you, it's hard to find a road that wasn't on a hill where I lived. I pulled up just slightly past the cones. I backed in there just like I'd done it 1,000 times. I put it in a park. I set that parking brake. I turned those wheels into the curb. I shut it off. I took a deep breath and I slowly turned toward that trooper. And he was actually grinning at me, had a big smile on his face, and he said, "Son, you're 3 feet from the curve." Well, my heart sank. The rule was 18 inches or less. And he just said, "Head on back to the courthouse." Well, I knew for sure I just failed that driver's test, just big as day, just failed it flat. And listen, I'd had plenty of my friends who'd failed the written test the first or second or third time. That's no big deal. But to fail the actual driving portion, I would be verbally roasted for months from my friends. So when we pulled up to the courthouse, the trooper just sat there and had his clipboard doing the paperwork. Seemed like an hour. I'm sure it was 3 minutes. How long does it take to write fail, right? My dad was sitting there on a park bench right where I parked. Finally, the trooper handed me a piece of paper. He said, "Congratulations, you passed." I'm not sure if I said anything or not. He walked out, got out of the car, walked over to my dad, shook his hand, and they both chuckled about something. And then the trooper left. Dad got in and said, "Well, Wayne said you did good." So my dad knew the trooper. Of course he did. He knew everybody. But I got my coveted driver's license, so who cares if I couldn't parallel park? In fact, I've never attempted it again. And as far as I can tell, never will. So I always seek out alternative parking, right? Still live in the country. Maybe I'll try it again someday if I get a car with parking assistance, or better yet, self-park. Oh, by the way, thank you, Wayne. Look, in the 1930s, an ingenious park assist idea called fifth wheel was invented. In a nutshell, it was a fifth wheel that dropped down from the trunk and it lifted both the rear wheels off the ground. And that fifth wheel would just bring it right into the curb when parallel parking. Worked the same way to pull out of the space, right? Spin the rear of the car right out, back out, you're on your way. A patent came of it in the 30s, but it really never caught on. First of all, it cost $175 in 1930s money. So today, $3,200 in today's money. The other problem was all the mechanical components took up the entire trunk space. So there was the problem, never caught on. Then there's the ever popular, my mom loved this, the ever popular tennis ball on a string to alert you to hang it from the ceiling, alert you to when to stop when you're pulled into the garage, right? Today's park assist systems, though, don't require any trunk space. And since the cameras and sensors are already there for ADAS, Advanced Driver Assistance Systems, the cost is minimal. And so we've got parking assistance systems, PAS, and they use sensors, cameras, automated controls, and in most cases, they're the same components as ADAS, as I said. So there's three systems, three types of systems. There's a passive system, and that provides audible and tactile warnings, such as the seat vibrating, for example. Then there's active systems, and that actually takes control of the steering, acceleration, and the brakes, and even be able to put it in park. So there's three types there, three types of those active systems. Steering assisted parking is the most common. And then there's enhanced automatic parking assist, and that can actually automatically park itself into a detected parking space. And then there's fully automated parking, which performs everything, all steering, brakes, shifts into park, may even apply the parking brake. Then there's also a remote parking system, which allows the vehicle just to park and unpark itself, no driver aboard. So imagine that, just get out at an elevator maybe and say, okay, go ahead and park yourself. And then when you're done with your business, step off the elevator, say, car, come to me. That's it, that's here. That's not the future, that's here. So different OEMs offer slightly different versions of these different systems, and they name them accordingly. So Ford offers an active park assist, and they have an enhanced active park assist. Toyota has intelligent parking assistant. Nissan calls theirs Pro Pilot. Fiat Chrysler automobiles, SCA, call theirs Park Sense. Tesla is called Auto Park. But you know what? Regardless of the name, it looks like it's here to stay. So when a problem arises, it's pretty much exactly the same as diagnosing and calibrating ADAS. Remember, they share the same components. So if we had a scenario, say a 2021 Volkswagen, the rear camera has failed, for example, we go get it repaired, and the rear camera in the ADAS system needs to be calibrated to the vehicle. Now there, of course, we would go in to service, reset, relearn to recalibrate that camera. And I do want to mention this too, some of the systems require targets to calibrate them properly. So it depends what you're working on. In a nutshell, Park Assist has come a long way since someone invented curb feelers, I can tell you that. It probably means we're just a step or two away from autonomous vehicles. You know, if cars can park themselves without human assistance, it's just a matter of time when they can drive me into town while I read a newspaper. I'll be looking forward to that. So again, I'm Keith Wray. Thank you for joining me, Wray in the Bay. See you next time.